Welcome to Kinky Knots Cafe, Proactive is the Way, where we provide you tools and resources to enhance your mind, body, and spirit. Get ready, folks. Let us nurture you from the inside out. Hello, my friends. We're back to continue our discussions on The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. 2 weeks ago, I provided an overview of chapters 8 through 13. If you missed it, please check out episode 19 on decoding human nature, unlocking the laws for success and self-mastery on Proactive is the Way at www.kinkinotscafe.com/proactive is the way. Today, I have a special guest, Serban Mare, to discuss some of the themes highlighted within this book. Join Serban and I as we discuss how to decipher human behaviors, manage our emotions, and master self-control to effectively create win-win situations. Serban, please introduce yourself and provide us with a brief overview of your personal and professional background.
Well, thank you for having me. I am excited to have this conversation. Like you said, my name is Serban. If you're going to pick up as I go along that this is not a Southern accent. I came from Europe in 2005, and I came here with only $200 in my pocket and a lot of drive and ambition. Yeah, I was I came here to achieve what I thought was the American dream. And for 10 years, I have been relentless in pursuing that American dream all the way till about 2015 or so, where I got the red brick house, I got a corporate job, I was engaged, everything was going smooth on the outside. And I thought that money is what I always wanted, and money's going to make me happy. And come to find out after achieving that American dream that it wasn't all that it was promised. I actually was feeling quite hollow inside. And in around 2017 or so, I've had a personal transformation where after 2 years of just feeling empty, just emotionally bankrupt, I revamped my life. Actually, my now wife nudged me towards personal development, towards new ideas and beliefs that really open up the gates and the notion that I can do so much more, that there's other things that would make me happy and fulfilled, to the point where now I've revamped my career, I am revamped my health, my passion is now for speaking and teaching others how to feel happy and have a more peaceful and wonderful life. And I'm here just having a conversation, hoping to help a few other people have the same experience.
Right. Now, so your wife, she convinced you move into a different profession. So I'm going to assume that this is not your day job. Is that correct?
Speaking, yeah, speaking is my night job, so to say. It's my passion that I'm still working on. I'm speaking on the topic of burnout, trying to help professionals like myself. I work, as we were talking prior, I work in the technology industry, and it's very high pressure, a lot of turnover, a lot of people being tired and exhausted. And I experience it myself, and I try to use the same tools for myself as well as to teach others to make sure that they have a better, I don't know if I can call it balance, but a more harmonious life where they can do their job and still have a lot of energy to do whatever they love outside of their job.
Yes. And that is so important, that what you shared about balance, because oftentimes we don't realize that we get off balance. And at least for you, you had a very good sense of awareness to rebalance yourself and find other avenues to create that balance.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Not at
excellent.
first. Not at
That's
first though. That was the chasing the
good.
American dreams. And afterwards I had to go through a valley of transformation to get there.
Okay. Well, I am glad that you have arrived or still working to arriving to that ultimate.
Every day. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say for me, I know it's going to be a nonstop educational process to find that perfect balance because I
Hmm.
still have children in the home. I have three children still in the home. One is off doing her thing, but it can be overwhelming trying to keep a
Hmm.
full-time job. For me, I think very similar to you, having a side business. And then, of course, for me, I have children, rolling solo. I don't have a spouse, but I'm managing to keep it all together.
Good,
Right.
good, good. Yeah. We
Yeah,
have to find balance, otherwise we're gonna go
we
mad.
do. Folks, I told Sherban, did I say that right?
Yeah.
I told Sherban, I was like, now when I get burnt out,
Yep.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to find him so he can help me out. All right,
For
all
sure.
right. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Sharon, I just wanted to connect with you. Folks, we had connected about a year ago. I did an interview with
Mhm.
Sharon and really liked his background, really liked his niche, and really thought that he could add some flavor to Proactive is the Way, sharing with us his perspective. Now, Shaban, I was sharing with you, of course, we kicked off this respective summer with reading The Laws of Human Nature by
Mhm.
Robert Greene. So Proactive is the Way. We're a self-help oriented podcast. And so we really lean on a lot of different pieces of literature, etc. So this summer, I selected for our audience, myself include as well. So I'm reading it along with them, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. And I selected this book because this entire year, we are actually we have a yearly book that we're focusing on, and that yearly book is called Principles. Have you
Mhm.
ever heard of Principles
Ray
by Ray?
Dalio.
Oh,
Yes.
you have. Okay. Have you ever had an opportunity?
I have not read it. It's a thick book.
It's a thick, let me tell you, that book is so thick. I was like, oh my goodness, there is no way people are just digesting this in like a couple weeks or a month because he really provides a lot of information with regards to uh, the I call it almost designing your life, making sure
Mhm.
that you set principles for yourself, and have these standards that you lean on in the event that you have a decision to make. Make sure that you have yourself properly organized, structured, and you know who you are and what you want in order to make effective decisions.
Yeah.
Amazing. His book is amazing. Definitely recommend reading that. So we're working on that book for an entire year. And what I'm doing is I've been incorporating supplemental books in order to
Mhm.
help improve, how do I want to say, solidify some of his thoughts. Or complement some of his thoughts. In this particular book, I chose The Laws of Human Nature, was because he had a principle, and one of his principles was that he felt like people, we in general, we are just very different. And we
Mhm.
have to learn to respect and understand that we all didn't come from the same background. And he provided us tools and resources with regards to how do we how do we effectively work together? And so last year I introduced the Six Thinking Hats. It was actually a book that we introduced when I worked in human resources and corporate. And it taught us about how to appreciate different perspectives. And, so you had your black hat, your red hat, etc. But I wanted to better understand. Okay, so yes, we are all designed very differently, but do we are is there ever a possibility that we have some commonality, some behaviors that may exist within us, in which the things that we do that we can kind of lean on, versus always having to figure folks out. And so Robert Greene actually came up with, oh my gosh, how many? We're still going through it, actually. We're only on chapter 13, and there's 18 chapters in the book. But he selected, there's certain traits that we tend to possess. And he actually really broke it down with regards to these traits, how to look out if these individuals have these traits. If you are someone who have these traits, how can you, and he did it, his book is a bit negatively skewed. So, and what I mean by that is, if you possess these traits and they are not, how do I want to say,
they're detrimental.
Yeah, they're detrimental to you, trying to develop relationships or with your ability to advance within life, etc., how you can overcome. And then if you're someone who, like me, I was telling you earlier, I was like, I don't think like this. I really don't. And so if you're someone like me who doesn't think like this or don't act on these respective traits, it's quite possible that someone can use those behaviors and abuse your relationship, right? And so I really appreciated that. It was difficult to read because I'll be honest, I kept saying to myself, is he talking about me? And I was like, but I don't do that, So it was, I was kind of taking it personal, but I knew, I was like, but this doesn't exist within me, right? That's what I kept thinking. This doesn't exist within me. But, no, it doesn't exist within me, but it's good to have that understanding that it could exist in others so that if you do encounter it, be aware and learn how to defend or protect yourself. So it's two sides, right? Yeah. So, we're always influenced. We're influenced by many different individuals. They play these various roles within our life. And so I just really wanted to, get your perspective. And folks, just a FYI, we're going to take a high level approach on this because there was just so much information. Number one, we're not done with the book. Number two, there was just so much information within the book that I just really kind of want to get a general perspective from Serban. I make sure I say that correctly. A general perspective from him, just from a life perspective, and how he manages himself within life, and how he manages his relationships and the people that he deals with on a daily basis. So we'll go ahead. We'll get started. And I'll start with some of the themes. There was a lot of recurring themes throughout this book. And I just want to inquire with you, Serban, in the book, there's a great deal of discussions about how to manage emotions, master self-control. And I wanted to understand from your perspective, have you ever been put into situations that you found were challenging? Did you, while you were going through that respective issue or challenge, had to manage your emotions? For example, did you have like irrational behaviors that exuded, and how did you overcome or bring back the rational mind in order to effectively get through the challenge in which you experienced?
Yes, I mean this is if we're really able to comprehend what's been said here about the controlling the emotions instead of the emotions controlling you, I think we would be in such a winning position all the time. I do remember a while back when something would happen to me, I would have an outburst of just negative reaction. And as I understood, there's this someone I think explained, I don't know if it was Jay Shetty or someone else, you have like a monkey mind and a monk mind. And a lot of times the monkey mind is the one that's always ready to pounce, ready to jump on and just attack or react or pull back, right? Depending on what type of emotions, how do you deal with confrontation, right? You fight, flight, or freeze. It all depends on those three, but those are the monkey, just impulses reacting to whatever happens to your situations. But then you have the monk, where the monk is cool. They're not reacting to the first impulse. They're spending some time and reflecting, a brief second or so, and are able to just assess what happened. And instead of letting the monkey just react impulsively, they take a pause and react more logically. And it takes a lot of time. And I remember hearing about this principle, and I thought, like, no, that's not me. But I there's two steps into this process. You have the situation that happens, and you get your emotions heightened up, and you want to have a first outburst. If you're able to pause for a second and just assess it even more, let that first outburst kind of just sit for a second, and then take a more logical reaction, then you will be able to have so much more success. Because I don't know about you, but I put my foot in my mouth many times because of this.
Yeah.
So I remember I remember this vividly many years ago. I was pulling out of a parking lot, and there was another car who was pulling out as well, but I had enough space to shimmy between them and the curve. And as I was trying to turn, the lady in the passenger seat rolled her window down, and she started cussing me out like a sailor. And I didn't know what happened, but I got mad. Why is she cursing me? Because it seemed like they were going in the opposite direction. But that's when I think I just heard about this principle, and I took a pause, and then I said, "I'm sorry. Do you want to go first?" And in that moment, because I didn't react, the lady's face just dropped and didn't know what to do. She was just so perplexed on the whole thing. And what I realized afterwards is that instead of getting into an argument with that person and then walking away all hot and heavy and boiling, I just went on with my day and nothing happened. And that's the advantage of not letting the monkey mind kind of take over, and just taking a pause and letting the monk mind dictate.
On that, we're actually my meditation class that I do every weekend. I actually talked about that exact principle, if you will, within my meditation series. I kid you not, just last week. So I do. It also, that respective principle, as you were speaking, the first thing that came to my mind was in the Bible, where they talk about Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ tells you turn the other cheek.
Uh-huh.
And so I bring that up because so often, we don't realize what you did. You turned the other cheek.
Mm-hmm.
You, instead of reacting to that emotion, what you did was, like you said, you stopped her right in her tracks. She didn't have any type of ammunition, or you didn't fuel the fire for her to continue, right? And that whole concept, I don't think people understand what that turn the other cheek means. The turn the other cheek when someone does something wrong to you is helping you to understand, if you don't react, you might change the whole dynamic of that interaction. If you can learn to just turn the other cheek, this might be a completely different circumstance in which it happened to you, right? It happened to you by you just turning the other cheek and saying, you know what, I'm going to pause. I'm not going to react. And I think people think that means, that we have to allow people to run over us, but that's not what that means. People think that's what it means. That's wrong. That's a wrong interpretation of that respective verse or respective verse that's in the Bible. But kudos to you for having a sense of understanding and awareness that, if you just paused, that this particular circumstance, you had a completely different outcome, which is beautiful. I love that. But I just talked about both of those. I appreciate you bringing that up. And managing your emotions, mastering self-control. Would you say, like, now you you do that more often than not? It's
I
kind of
try to.
okay.
It to me, it's a continuous practice. I lose my temper. That would be
Can't-
funny if I wouldn't. Even the Dalai Lama said that he gets angry at times, and probably
Yes,
not as often. But the whole idea is to continuously practice, to
right.
continuous. It's standing in line at the grocery store and not getting mad that you didn't pick the fastest lane, or someone cutting you in traffic, and instead of saying, "Oh, that." I'm gonna show that person.
Yeah.
Instead of just telling yourself, they're rushing to the hospital. Like I'm meeting them with grace. When
Mhm.
with those moments, the more you practice just letting it go and not letting that monkey mind take over, the bigger the situations, you'll be able to handle it a lot better.
That is very true. Yeah, I'm constantly working on mine as well, but I'm a little bit opposite of you. And I think because for 20 years, I worked in human resources, and in HR, you deal with a whole lot of stuff. I'm telling you, and it requires it requires you to my boss, my very first boss, she used to say, Toya, just smile and say F you.
In your head.
Not in my head, yes. He said, just smile and say, F you. And so I was like, that was the best damn advice she gave me, because for over 20 years, I knew how to maintain my composure. I was like, I could curse you out in my mind with no issue and be completely satisfied. I didn't practice this skill for 20 years, right? But it was funny that she shared that. So I get emotional, but I did have an opportunity, as I was um, venturing throughout my career, to practice self-control quite
Mhm.
often. That's very cool. So the next question that I have for you was, what have you found to help you develop greater insight into managing people or your relationships with people to create win-win situations?
Mhm, mhm. One of them you already touched on, which is meditation.
Okay.
Just being more mindful of myself as well as others through meditation has helped me tremendously.
Okay.
And just having aware of the thoughts that I have, that's what meditation really helped me with. And with that, it just gave me a moment to pause and let the monk mind kind of take over, and really kind of meet the other person with compassion and just try to level with them and empathize instead of just judging, because that's kind of what the first thing that I used to do and I still do. But I try to empathize a lot more now, and just ask myself, like, why are they coming at me or in this situation this way, to understand the other person. And the more I'm able to reflect on that with the monk mind, the more I'm able to relate to them and just meet them where they're at.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And you end up building that stronger. Now, I wanted a stronger relationship. Let me finish my thought. Your meditation, are you doing Buddhist meditation? Are you just kind of developed your own practice? How?
It's a combination. So I typically go to the gym and then I go into the sauna, and in the sauna I can't take any equipment, any headphones or anything like that, because they just can't handle it. So I just sit in silence and try to not think, which is very difficult.
Isn't that hard?
It,
I just started meditating this year. I've been doing yoga for like since 2021.
Hmm.
And everybody was like, you need to get into meditation today. You need to get into meditation. I was like, yeah, I don't know about meditation, because my mind, it does not stop. You gotta
Mhm.
like literally give me some melatonin and knock myself out,
Yeah.
but that's not meditating, that's sleeping, right? So meditation requires awareness, right?
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
that's what I'm learning. But
The,
yeah,
the first time you do meditation is very difficult, especially to stand still, because we're such a hyper society where we need to go, go, go and always be distracted with a lot of things. So I think whenever you sit down first, it's kind of like watching highway traffic, or not a highway traffic, a highway cars just going by. That's how your thoughts are. And the more you meditate, the more you move from the highway to the street road and then a rural road where you actually are capable of seeing that car, seeing that thought clearer and clearer, and you're able to let it go. And that's where that mindfulness and switching from the monkey to the monk happens, because you see yourself getting angry, you see that high-speed car, and then you are able to slow it down and be like, okay, what's the right decision here? I
Okay.
found that very useful.
Okay, very good, very good. Well, I will keep on. And so, meditation, you shared, what has played a big part in helping you to develop greater insight, so that you can be more empathetic, versus kind of responding without a thought. And that is definitely, that's very helpful, because I think a lot of people, we do just say, like you said, put our foot in our mouth. Every now and again, actually quite often I do as well.
Yep.
I must say, especially with people I'm close with, my partner, I do it all the time, and I know he's like, "You are evil," and I'm like, "But you know, I'm what I'm saying is in is for your personal development, etc." And then I have to go back and think, well, how I really should have said this. Well,
Oh, that's
you
good.
know,
At
yeah,
least you
because
have that awareness. Yeah.
yes, exactly. Awareness, because awareness is definitely key. Even if you are someone who does that, having a level of awareness to be able to say, okay, I probably didn't say that right. Or, I didn't approach that well. Nothing ever stops you from going back to apologize and saying, okay, this is what I meant, right? The other bit that I like what you said was as related to judging. You say, I judge a lot, etc. And I judge nonstop every single day. But I look at judgment a little bit different. And I tell folks this all the time. The way that I look at judgment, because if you look up judgment in the dictionary, judgment says analyzing in a logical way, right? So you're going through the process of analyzing a situation in a logical fashion. I was like, why do people get upset with being judged? Wouldn't you want me to look at your situation, come to a logical conclusion based on information that I see? And so I judge all the time. I tell folks I'm a judger. I know I'm a judger. ENTJ, Myers-Briggs, I'm a judger. I said, but what I don't do, and I won't do it to you, I don't do it to anybody, even my greatest enemy, I won't condemn you. I might, right? Because that's the real issue. The real issue is that we lose relationships because we judge with condemnation. But if we judge just to analyze and understand it from develop an analysis logically, then you can judge me right now. It wouldn't bother me one bit, but that's because I do it.
That's good.
Right. Okay, very good. Let me ask you this. Greene says that we are all actors wearing many faces, and that we have to learn how to decipher the behaviors of people to identify their true intentions. What are your thoughts about this analysis?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think we all have in certain capacities a mask, right? Like I'm talking to you now and I'm trying to bring my best out and not have all the other craziness that's happening in my life, bring it into our discussion. And we have different personalities, right? When we're at work, we have a work personality, then we go home and we probably act totally different with our family and so forth. So it's necessary. I feel like these masks are necessary. To me, the one thing that I would caution everybody, and it's a reminder for myself, is to not wear false masks and pretending that you are something more than you are, because you may get away with that in front of some people, but the challenge is that we're never going to get away from ourselves. And whenever we're incongruent with who we are, that really erodes our self-esteem and our confidence. And that dark side of not being congruent with what we say that we're going to do and how we're going to act, that really eats our own just soul, I would say.
Yeah, well, it's also a reflection of poor character, as you were saying that,
Correct.
like you're exuding a character that if anyone wanted to depend on you or had an inquiry or wanted to confide in you, etc., you've eroded that character. And this life that we live is all about one's character. If you think
Mhm.
about it, because once you ruin that, and folks are like, "Oh, your character sucks," for lack of better term, um, it's really hard to develop good relationships.
Mhm.
It's really hard for people to trust who 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 you are, right? What do they say? When they show you the first time, believe them. And if people are showing you a negative side of them, their character, yeah, you're gonna. That's how most people are going to look at you.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's, and I agree with you. We do wear many faces. I know in human resources, I wore about 100. I
Yeah.
said it all the time. I was like, because I had to be professional, but I'm really laid back. If you haven't, been able to tell, I'm so laid back. But you have to put on airs because if the CIO walks into the building, you got to be like, yes, I had a CIO curse me out on the floor. And
Mm.
I had to hold my composure. I had to share with him what really happened. I was like, this is what happened, but we have an alternative solution. Let me help you and guide, so like you have to do all these different things. So I had a whole nother face because let me tell you, if this was outside of the office, I'm not sure if I would have held so much composure with regards to the amount of words that came out of his mouth. But and how he addressed me in front of so many of my the individuals, the people that I supported.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
but you keeping your composure speaks volumes of who you are, and then the fact that he's lashing out at employees speaks volume of who he is, right?
I'm going to tell you, everyone noticed that.
Yep.
Everyone noticed that. So it made me feel good that I
Mhm.
did do that. So thank you for recognizing that. Very good. All right. So next one, as I shared earlier, we are focusing on Ray Dalio's book, Principles for the Year. This month, it's all about becoming more understanding, or understanding that while people are wired very differently, can we find some commonality amongst us? And so we're talking about principles, and we don't have to focus on this respective principle, but I just want to get into your head. Are there certain principles that you lean in on every day to help you in managing your life, your business, and what so whatever principle that is, how has relying on those principles helped or hindered you?
Mm. Yeah, I don't call them principles. I actually call them values. And I always look at values as more like a tree. The values are the roots, and then the branches of the trees are different identities that spur from those roots. So if I were to give you an example, is I value a lot health. And that is a core value of mine. And the way it spurs out into those branches is I'm either being active, working out, or hiking or running, whatever it is. I also am very intentional in my health when it comes to what I eat, and also when it comes to making sure that I take care of my sanity. Now, that's one of the biggest transformation that I had in my journey, as I was talking at the beginning, is that now, even though there's a lot of pressure and stress because I'm doing more than ever before, I know how important it is to have my sanity. So I value a lot the mental health that I spurred from this value, and I take care of it. And that's when you have these roots, these core values, when I go to a birthday party and someone tells me, but it's my birthday only once a year. Yes, yours and another 50 of my friends.
Yeah, right.
I cannot eat cake every other day just because it's someone's birthday. And
Right.
those are the values that I don't mess with. There, you call them, I can call them also bright lines. There are certain things that I do that really uh, give me confidence and spur my personality and my confidence in the way that I live my life. Another value is kindness. Another value is being organized, and all these other things that I I cherish a lot, and I foster each day just to make sure that I am congruent with those values, which really gives me a lot of confidence in belief that what I'm doing and how I'm living in this world is is powerful and is making me feel good about myself.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Very, very good. If you had to leave a message for the next generation, what are some lessons or principles you would leave to ensure that they stayed on the right path to success?
So many.
What's
No,
like the key one? Like if you don't have children yet, right? You
I
do
do
have
not.
you
I do
don't have
not.
children yet. Yeah. So like if you had a son and
Hmm.
your son is about to go off to college, some things that you may have learned as you were as you're he's about to take that journey. What are some things you would tell
Oh
your son?
yeah. So it's one of the principles that I've adopted since I've transformed my life, and that is the the mindset of of growth. And I don't know if you're familiar with Carol Dweck's book, Mindset, which was the pivotal thing that helped me transform my life, is where we have a fixed mindset where we think that our abilities are fixed and there's not much we can do. And then you have the growth mindset where we are ever molding, ever changing, ever capable of achieving and doing more. And that is one of my core values, is that if there's something that anybody wants in their lives, they can go after it and achieve it in certain capacities, whatever that may be. If you're wanting to become a NASA a NASA engineer, it's going to take a while to learn all of that, but in due time, with the growth mindset, with the ability that if we take charge of our lives, we can achieve so many monumental things that we don't believe that we can. And that's been a driving force ever since I've changed my life. I told you I've revamped my health, my career, my passion. All of these things have all spurred from this notion that we are more capable than we think we are. And that is the idea of a growth mindset.
I love it. Yeah, that's me. You said you work in technology. And
Hmm.
maybe how I just transitioned from human resources for 20 years and then went into fitness for
Hmm.
health related reasons, and then jumped over into technology because it afforded me balance. It afforded me balance that I didn't think I needed until I experienced it. And I was like, oh, this is what I was looking for a long time ago.
That's
So
fantastic.
like, yeah. So, yeah, I really like that. But in order for that to happen, yes, you have to have a growth mindset like what you did, transitioning. You're still in your field, but you also transitioned and realized, okay, yep, I'm making money. I'm a program manager within IT. It's crazy here. But a part of your growth was also learning how you function, how
Mhm.
you operate most effectively, and then taking steps to ensure that you do that well, and then have a supportive wife to help
Mhm.
see you through that. That's always a bonus, right?
Yeah, you might be able to say, I took it the proactive way.
The proactive way. I love it. Yes, yes, you did. Very good. All right. Well, is there anything else you would like to share with our audience today?
Uh, sure. Yeah, I think it's always a good message to have, and it's a very good reminder always for me is where whatever the situation that you are right now, just know that it's not a sentence. We can always change and adapt, and that is the growth mindset way or the proactive way.
I love it. Great way to end on that note. All right, folks. Well, you heard it from Serban Morea. I think I got it by the end of the show here. Thank you so much for coming on, Serban, giving us and providing us your background, your knowledge, your expertise. It has been so valuable, and I appreciate you joining us here on Proactive is the Way.
It's an awesome opportunity and lovely discussion. Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, that's a wrap. Up next, the tangential mind. So, this summer, if you noticed, I have been easing up on putting out content, as last month and this month was all about rest and recovery. I didn't realize how much I was running until I actually slowed down. I must say that I feel so refreshed and rejuvenated, and had some time to focus on restructuring my eating habits, my workouts, and reading more for pleasure and working on my professional growth. By taking some time out and just really slowing things down, focusing on me a little bit, I must say I really, really changed. I lost 10 pounds, secured another credential under my belt, and just feel so much better. Rest and recovery. If you find it difficult to build this in your regimen, I strongly encourage you to take a step back and do what is best for you. Join us in 2 weeks as we wrap up the book, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. I will provide an overview of chapters 14 through 18. We look forward to you joining us. In preparation for our discussions, please visit Kinky Knots Cafe's approved book list to pick up a copy of the book, The Laws of Human Nature. Details are enclosed in the description. To access all replays or learn more about Kinky Knots Cafe's Proactive is the Way, please visit www.kinkyknotscafe.com. Proactive is the way, my friends. Take good care.